no grill in the front there. It's a cover, and pretty much that cover in the front, since it's electric, there's no need to cool off the radiator in this car. So the car does have everything that a normal car would have. Power steering, it has lights, HIDs, has a cool rim, blinking lights, I mean you name it, side markers. It's a really intelligent car too, so understands. It uses a cool little key fob here. As you can see, it looks like a little Matchbox car, and in here is some little buttons that control the trunk, the unlocking of the car and things. It's also intelligent, so this is a keyless entry feature. So as I get close to the car, one of the cool features is door handles. So as I'm getting close to it, it'll recognize I'm nearby, and of course it'll slide out the handles, which is really cool. And a lot of people, fall in love with that first feature. Beyond that, it's got this is the P85, so this is the performance one, and this has got a lot of horsepower. If you're a performance guy, this is the car to have for performance. This is the trunk of the car, so I'm going to pop this open for you guys so you guys can check this out. It's a power trunk, as you can see. Since there's no big motor in this car, there's a nice big trunk here. Those seats fold down right there, and you actually get a pretty good ratio for some space if you really need to load stuff. And as you can see, it's a pretty large trunk. And in the front, as well, there is a frunk, what they call a front trunk. So let's open this baby up here. And it's another pretty big size space here. As you can see, it's pretty big. There's no motor, so that's your bay here. Of course, they've reinforced this frame here. You can't really see here, but there is some reinforcement here and reinforcement here, where people ask, well, if there's no motor, what happens when you get in a car accident? Like every car, it's got to pass standardized testing and see how it does in crashing. And of course, they've reinforced everywhere they need to and make sure they have credible points to make sure the car is to par before it gets out on the road. So that is the front of the Tesla. Just gotta let this close out. So as we're walking through the car here, I'm actually just going to go ahead and open the garage here in this picture. What I did want to show is the actual rear, so we're going to start on the rear of the car. But before we do, I like to show the calipers of the car and the brake system. So this has got a pretty good braking system. It's a 4-piston brake system on this car, the performance model. As you can see in the front, it's got 19-inch wheels. This P85 you can get with 21-inch wheels, which looks really nice and really sharp. It comes in a staggered setup. The only thing about this car, I just have to warn you, is that not made for the winter on the 21 inches. The 19s are. Here in the rear, as we walk in, you're going to notice that there is no middle hump, which is kind of nice. So my seat's all the way back here, and as you can see, there's pretty good leg space. And I usually am pretty long, so. And because there's no hump, there's actually open space right there in the center where somebody can actually fit their feet all the way in. So there's not really a hump in this car like you would normally see in a car with an automatic transmission. So that hump is no longer relevant. So pretty nice spacing there. The back of the seats are made of a plastic ABS. It's nothing crazy. It looks kind of cheaply made, to be honest, but I think if they would put some carbon fiber shell on there or something to make it look more racy, especially on the P85s, they'll look cool. But as you can see, the trim models have some nice silver there. They've got some unique design to it. The handles kind of cool. So, and there's your power window. So pretty straightforward on the model. Nothing crazy. The roof, as you can see here, is part of the panoramic. As I mentioned earlier, it's an all-glass roof. You can see through it. It is UV coated, so that means it protects you from the sun. So while you're back here, you're not cooking, especially on a really, really hot, sunny day. It does block a lot of the sun. But there are some LED lights also right there in those little dome pieces. They light up pretty well. They're nice white LEDs, so it looks nice. Moving into the front, I think a lot of us will probably notice the big, humongous light-up screen in the front there when you first look into this car. Which is really, really crazy. And I think a lot of people see that and they're like, oh my god, look at the giant iPad. But the front, just want to walk through it all. The side, this is pretty much the same as the other one. Front panel, door has a cool curve to it. Again, the handle where you close the door is right there. You got your controls and everything else on the door, just like everything else. Power windows, your mirrors are right there. So it's pretty straightforward. What you will notice, and the thing that annoys me the most, let me just get in here really quick, is that looking in here, you're going to notice that there is a couple of pieces here that is still yay or nay for me. And I'll walk through these here. So I think the first thing we'll do is let's look at the screen here, which is probably the most cool part of the car, is the way everything's controlled here. So everything is controlled here on the screen. It's got a dual function, so you can be doing two things at the same time, and then you can switch them around if you want. You've got controls there for your heating, AC. You get a full internet connection. When you're home, you can connect to your Wi-Fi as well. It's got a 3G connection, so it's always connected to the internet, not tethered through your phone or anything. It's got its own 3G antenna, so it's always using the internet. Because of that, it's got satellite antenna. It's got, internet radio, and it uses Slacker radio, which is cool. So you can put whatever song you want and search for it, and it'll actually play, which is really cool, which I use very, very nicely. As well, it's got your normal radio, AM, FM. It can tune in. You can set up stations. It can connect to your device through Bluetooth. You can play your iPhone favorites on there, or if you want to use Pandora through your phone, you can stream through there as well. As well, you see a small cover art there with what's playing. That way you don't actually have to take your eyes off the road and control it through here through the steering wheel, which is nice, a nice safety feature. But this screen is always up. So one of the flaws there, so I could easily get distracted here, and I can make it full screen as well, as you can see there. So I can easily get distracted, but you know, it is what it is, and you kind of learn how to play with it, and you learn how to not be distracted. Moving on, we've got the navigation. The navigation, it's a pretty interesting system. It uses Google Maps. So Google Maps is tethered in here, so you can zoom in just like your computer, zoom in, use a satellite mode. It'll populate just like you're using your computer at home. You can continue zooming in and just get that, you know, Google Maps look, get the live traffic updates from Google. But beyond that, it also has a Garmin installed. So the Garmin runs on the left-hand side, which is actually in front of the steering wheel, as you can see here. And when you put a navigation location in, the Garmin is preloaded with all the maps, so it'll allow you to see that. So see on the left-hand side there where you see that graph there, that is where your Garmin navigation will go up. So if you lose internet connection, you don't have to worry about it. It's still running through GPS, so it'll continue tracking you. You may not have Google Maps up, or it may not be giving you an update, but you'll still see the navigation there. And a lot of the features you can control right there on that interface here. So beyond the navigation there, you can also see other pieces. You can control, you know, volumes. You can control sunroof and other controls there. And there's couple controls that you can do through the steering wheel. So beyond that, it shows you your charging stations, which is nice. So if I ever get lost, I can have my charging station come up. So here I just pointed out one. There's a supercharged station in East Greenwich. So as you can see, the map came up on the left. You can't really see it too close in this video here, but pretty much there's a map there. It all looks all white right now, but it shows you the detail, and you can see where you're going. It really gives you turn-by-turn navigation, so it works well. And there's also a voiceover, which I have muted. Beyond that, in here, you see your usage, your graph. So here you can actually see your 5 mile, 10 mile, 50 mile, as well as your average and your regular distance ranges. So you can figure out how much miles you get per the charge. So if you get a full charge, you figure out what your average usage, and if you like to ride hard in your car, it'll tell you how you're performing and where you can tweak out, and then I'll give you that average to calculate the average miles that you get on your charge. So if you're a hard driver, it'll tell you that. If you're a soft driver, you know, it recalculates that and gives you the average. So it works out really well. And you can also have that up on the screen as well, as I mentioned earlier. It's just another piece you can add here, and you can control that through here. So there's a bunch of different controls here. This one is your climate control, so I can easily turn my climate up without having to go into the big screen, which is really nice. It's all there. And beyond that, there's a couple other controls there as well. Display brightness, you've got your average speed, and your music. I think you also control the sunroof, as I mentioned earlier. So moving over, we got the web interface. The web interface is really cool. You got a full web browser. The only thing that they blocked is the Flash addition to this, because they don't want you playing videos while you're driving. So they blocked the Flash player, but you can literally go on any website, and pretty much watch or read what you want there. So if it doesn't require Flash, you'll see it there. It'll still preview the Flash play screen, but it won't allow you to play it. And that's something that probably can get hacked later on, but I'm sure that's more to come, you know, as people start playing with these cars and they become more readily available. But here you can see I'm on CNN.com. I can read my news. I can go into anywhere on the page and get more detail, and you know, it's pretty fast, I gotta say, for what it is. I'm actually connected here to the internet, so it's pretty smooth. Then we've got the camera, which is really nice. It's got an HD camera, really high quality. I gotta say, for a backup camera, this is really HD, and it runs really well. So what's nice is that it covers. It's a fisheye, so it covers your blind spot. What is nice, if I'm looking through my review there, I can be looking here, and I will see the blind spot. Before I even see the car on the right hand side, I'll be able to still see it there, and I can see it simultaneously on the camera and in my blind spot and on the side of me once it comes up. So it's pretty cool. So it gives you a good peripheral vision capture then, and kind of captures any cars passing by in case you're shifting lanes and you can easily just take a peek there in your side view mirror, so to avoid any accidents. So a really good feature. I like it. I actually like to leave it up, and I can switch it from top to bottom and bottom to top depending on how you want the screen set up. That's a really nice feature, so pretty cool. And you can also get a little more detail when you're looking at the screen here. Let's say you've got your backing up. It'll pop up on the screen there in the middle. As you're backing up, it'll tell you how close you are because you've got proximity sensors as well as front ones. Moving on, we got the phone. Here's my phone. It's tethered in. You're seeing all the contacts. It's got a dialer. Pretty straightforward. It copies all in. You can dial and then press send and it dials. So it's pretty straightforward, just a dialer. You can call there, which is nice, so you don't have to go into your phone in your pocket. Here's your VIN number, which is all electronic. So everything's electronic on here, so I'm through this touch panel. But here you can see the model you've got and the VIN number. You can also control all the other controls. So here is the sunroof, which is pretty slick. Sunroof is probably one of my favorites. It shows a really good interface, so I can just literally slide my finger to whatever percent I want, and the sunroof will open to that exact percentage. And when you let go, you'll see a demonstration on the screen of the sunroof opening to that specific percentage, and then it does it on top as well. So that is really slick. When you open this thing all the way open, I've got to say, it is just like being in a convertible. It's really wide. It goes all the way from front to back, so it's a big, big, big sunroof. And I love it because when I was driving it this whole week, I've been just noticing how great it is to get that much sun. And I've got a sunroof in my other cars, but it's not this wide, so it makes a world of a difference. And it also has the vent feature, so I can just have it just tilt up in the rear, just to get some fresh air and things like that if I don't want, or if it's raining, I can just tilt it up for the vent, just to have some cool air coming in. And then I just click the button and it closes, and it's sealed. So it's pretty slick. And you don't have to drag, you can just touch like I'm doing there on the screen. It's pretty straightforward. Moving on, we've got the driving. Pretty straightforward. What's cool is that the steering wheel has a couple of features. It's got the comfort, it's got the standard, and then it's got the sport. If you're used to driving like a Cadillac, something really cushioning luxury, you'll probably be used to that comfort. So it's really loose steering, a lot, not stiff, you don't feel the road as much. The standard is more of just like a regular car. I would say more like a Honda, driving, a little stiff, but you can still feel the road a little bit, but still kind of comfortable and loose. And the sport is more like the BMW sport kind of driving, where it's really tight steering. You can feel the road, you can feel vibrations through the steering wheel, which is really interesting how it works. And it tightens up the steering. You can literally turn a lot tighter and it feels better. So that's a cool feature. Beyond that, some of the other features on here are the regeneration, which regeneration is a feature that when the car slows down, it's slowing down through the motor. So it regenerates power by slowing down using the motor. That slows down the car naturally, so you don't have to use the brake as much, and it also extends the brake power or the brake usage, so you're able to change the brakes less often. Beyond that, it's got a traction control, which works really well. The car is rear-wheel drive, but I do have to warn you, taking that traction control off on the 420 horsepower rear-wheel drive car, you're gonna spin around and things like that. So you've got your locks and unlocks. You've got your lights there, so you can turn your lights on, your daylight running lights. You got that cool halo LEDs in the front. Really pops when you're driving. Looks like a cat almost when you're driving around. You've got your automatic sensors for lights. Moving into the other part, you've got heated everything on this car. So you've got the heated. You've got the heated back seats, you've got the heated front seats, and you also have the heated windshield wipers, which is really slick. So in New England, it's great. This is the cold winter package. Really good, especially when it snows out here. You can just defrost your windshield wipers, leave them, turn the car on, flip your blades up, turn the defrost on, they'll get loose, and you can leave them running while they're cleaning the car so you don't get any buildup of ice. The next one we've got here is the here we go, is the display. Here the display, you can actually dim it so you can see a little bit better here. You get your night vision, so this actually flips over to a dark version, as you'll see here. So at night it's not so blinding. You get your day version, and then I had it on auto originally, so you can see it during the day. Beyond that, you can also turn this on and off here if you don't want it to be automatic, but that is optional. So I just leave it like that for now. Beyond that, you've got the controls like I mentioned down at the bottom for display, and that allows you to, if you need to turn off the display so you can actually clean it, you can hit the button there to clean the display. This car does not have an emergency brake, and this is what I kind of mentioned earlier. It's a little bit of an awkward setup in here. So there's no emergency brake in the middle, there's no emergency brake there. It's digital. So you can hit that button, the emergency brake turns on, and that emergency brake just holds there. The only other thing that I noticed about this car is it's got this weird shut off as well. So that's the emergency brake I'm actually pointing to right there. So the car's in park and it's telling me, you know, emergency brake in case something. So I don't know how good that works, especially if you need the emergency brake. I don't know how much that's going to help you, but, you know, I like to be in control, like releasing the emergency brake when I need it. There's also, you can't see it there on the screen because it's so bright, but there's a master power off. So it'll kill all the power to the car. But because it's digital, I think it should be sitting outside the car. So that's one of the flaws here. If this car's on fire, I want to be able to power it off. I don't want to have to come in to the car, put the key in, or be near the car while it's on fire, turn the screen on, get to the menu, and then hit power off. There should be some sort of function outside or something on the key that I can do a master power off. And then to turn it back on, you just get back in it. So again, here the door locks. You get the lock unlock. You get the charge port, which is a little port on the back side, which I'll show you guys later how I do that. And I got the trunk release there. I got the dome lights there. You know, I got my daylight, so I can turn the dome lights on there. See, I just turned them on. Can't really tell in this video, but I just did. Daylight running lights, DRL, fog lights, and then the regular headlights, which are parking on and auto, and then off. You got your other control button here, so that's what we're in now. And you got the home link, I believe, as well. Let me just go here, I'll show you. So I can add a driver here, and this allows me to have a profile for my seats. So when I get in the car, I can just change the profile of who's in the car, and the seats move, my mirrors move, everything moves automatically. Then the other thing I have is preferences. So if I want the lights to stay on in the car, when I get out and things like that, you can just turn them all on and off here through this menu. It's pretty straightforward. Safety and security, again, this is just more of, you know, lock and unlock of the car. What happens when I get out? Does the light stay on? Do the things turn on? Here's the home link. So if you have your garage, you can set up your garage opener to your home link. So as you're getting close to your house, it automatically knows, and then it'll open your garage for you. So that's pretty slick. All right, now going back into the car, looking at the steering wheel. It's a GT style steering wheel. It's got a nice curve, some nice grips here for the handling, of course. You got the flat bottom. It's really cool. You got your controls here, as I mentioned earlier. You got your volume control here. You can move up and down on whatever media source you're looking at, or forward or backwards. You got your controls here for the speak, so you can give this commands and call people. You've also got your menu button here, which allows you to have menus on the screen here to look at, you know, calling somebody, or using this to call them to customize controls for AC, you know, roof opening, things like that. So pretty cool. Beyond that, on the dash, you're going to see that there is the control, and you can see the range of how much gas you have. If the car is on or off, when the car is on, you hit the brake, and the car is naturally on. I mean, that is the extent of the audio you're going to hear in the car. So it's pretty straightforward. And we're going to get in the car now, and I'm hopefully not going to be too shaky. I'm holding this camera in my hand. Fortunately, I have my other gimbal with me. But we'll get a feel of what it's like to drive the car. But before we do, I'm going to go show you some other things. So in the front here, I just want to show you the seats. Seats are all electronic, so you can adjust these easily. There's your front panel. The trim is pretty cool. This has got like a wood style trim. They come in a carbon fiber, which I liked. So that's actually what I ordered. The roof is like a kind of like a nice velvet or maybe like a satin leather. I mean, there's a, I don't know what this material exactly is. It could be, I'm not sure if it's real leather, to be honest, but it could be. But I think this is a new feature that they just added, so really plush, really high end on their end. And so this car has nothing here in the middle. And it's kind of weird because it's a little uncomfortable for me. I'm a pretty big guy. I actually push my seat all the way back, and as you can see, I'm all the way back. Let me just make sure I'm all the way back. Yeah, so I'm all the way back, and you know, I'm a little tight for what it is, and I think they did that on purpose to have the space in the back by heart or by customization, so people aren't comfortable in the back. But I'm all the way back, and this middle piece here, this console, is just a little weird for me. So this is the armrest, and the armrest is a little uncomfortable. If you put a cup here, okay, if you put a cup here, here's my elbow. My elbow naturally goes where this cup needs to go. So I actually have to put my arm farther back, which is a little uncomfortable to kind of get the cup there, but you're always going to be kind of hitting this here. So a little uncomfortable there. I wish they would have redesigned that. I'm sure there's going to be aftermarket things to put here in this middle piece here, but I wanted to show you this because it's kind of hard to see here, but this middle console is just, it's just a middle console. There's nothing here. There's some USB ports right here so you can charge your phone, and a 12-volt plug here, and a speaker here. So really, this has become my little chamber of change holding. There's no pockets or anything, but I hope they're going to integrate eventually a cup holder down there somewhere, which is kind of nice because you can put the cups here and it'd be out of the way, and it really doesn't mess with anything or block anything. And actually, that's what I did this weekend. I actually took a tray from my Dunkin' Donuts and I just put it here, and it actually fits in there pretty nice. And because of the way it's shaped, it's kind of like a V. It pressured itself into place, so it didn't really go anywhere. And it really just sat against this little trim here. It didn't go anywhere. So that's a little hack that I did. That's maybe good or not. But if you buy a Tesla, you want to be comfortable. So that's one of the downfalls for me. Beyond that, as I mentioned, there's really no pockets. There's only this little pocket here. Right in here, it's like a little cubby hole. I put my cell phone here. It's got a little rubber grip, which isn't bad. But, you know, you can put stuff like your glasses in there, things like that. So, I mean, it's okay as far as pocketing. There's a lot of space here. Some of these do now come with the trim on the floor. So if you don't want the rug like this one has, they come with the same trim, the carbon fiber, and they come with these little rubber grip strips so that everything won't slide around, which is great. But I could just imagine putting change on there. That'll eventually scratch because the rubber's not going to hold each one of those coins, and as you break it, things that's going to get pretty scuffed up. So that's something about the design I'm not really happy about. But the rest of it, you can see it's all nice stitching, all well done. Here's your glove box. You pop that open like that. Then you've got your warning light here. So pretty cool, like little trim pieces there, little integrated buttons there that look almost seamless when you look at them. Then you've got your control here for your steering wheel. So if you need to pop that forward or back, it's all motorized. Your windshield wipers are automatic, but you can also adjust them here, and these are your turn signals. This is one of the flaws in this car for me. If you're used to driving a car, you want your blinker to be right about this height. It's really low, so I'm actually using my pinky at times to kind of adjust. And I've almost had to learn to kind of come closer to the middle part here instead of driving where it naturally is supposed to be, or here. I mean, it's pretty tough to maneuver that when you're turning. You know, you almost have to turn first and then put your blinker on, which is kind of an asshole move, just to be transparent. But, you know, it's not good to drive like that. So I wish, you know, I constantly, when I first got this car, I was hitting the cruise control buttons up and down and things like that. So, kind of a pain. But, you know, I've gotten a little bit more used to it now that I've been driving it. So, like every car, you get used to it, and you learn how to drive it. Other cool features about the car, let's look at it from the outside. I think the most appealing thing, well, let's go for a drive first. So, the most appealing thing is once you put it in reverse, it's a really smart system. You put it in reverse, you get your backup camera turned on, you get your sensors. So you got front and back sensors that turn on, so it knows we're backing up. So as you can hear, I'm actually driving the car right now. It's in reverse, and there's zero signal. There's no audio happening in this car, and I'm just cruising backwards. And there's a lot of road noise, which is unfortunate about this car because I love it, but I wish they would have done a better job insulating the car so it was really silent in here. And it's not, and that's kind of one of the downfalls about the car. But, you know, you kind of get used to it because you jam out with better music and things like that. So, at the end, it's not too bad. But we're just going to go for a quick drive here. Okay. And we're going to put this in drive. And now you can see the Google Maps is on. You've got our Garmin up here. Got our ETH internet working there. So, we're actually just cruising around. And I'm driving. So, the car is gonna beep because it's asking me to put my seatbelt on, so let me do that also. I'm trying to do two things at one time here. Alright, so here we're driving, and now I'm buckled up and we're secure. Car's driving. It's really smooth, good drive. I mean, it's a brand new car, so the suspension's really great. I've got the base suspension. They also have the air ride suspension, which is more of an adjustable suspension, which is nice. If you want to drop your car, if you want to lower your car, I would suggest to go with the basic suspension, which is just, you know, a coilover with a shock. If you want the air ride, it's adjustable, so that means it goes up and down, but you can also tighten the suspension as far as the stiffness, so it's damperable. So you can dampen it and actually get really good controls with it. But as you can see, car drives really well. It handles extremely well. So this is the regeneration. As you can see on the dash, when you see the green, that means I'm actually not hitting the gas. The car's slowing itself down. And it does a really good job. So it's actually charging the car really well. And we're actually going to go down a strip real quick. I just want to show you guys the performance of this vehicle. So here while I'm driving, you know, it's continually giving me information on my Google Maps here, as well as on my Garmin to tell me where I'm going. I'm just going to take a left here. And I can have the navigation talk, but because we're recording, I'm going to hold it off. So pretty well done. Here with more light, you can actually see the space I was talking about earlier. It's a little dirty here. Sorry, guys. It's been a busy weekend. We had Memorial Day, and I was traveling and actually going to different places. But the weather is all full of pollen, so it's pollen all over this car as well. So not the craziest car to look at right now, clean-wise. But really well done for the most part in here. I like the spacing. It's futuristic looking. The screen is just everybody sees the screen, that's the first reaction you get. So I'm actually going to do a 0 to 60 here in a minute just to show you guys the performance of this car. And as I mentioned earlier, the performance is pretty ridiculous on this car. So if we're stopped here, I'm just going to go ahead and slow down here a little bit. Got a car coming behind me, but I'm just going to hit it really fast here so you guys see it. I'm flooring right now, and the road's a little wet, but you can quickly see the car has no problem getting up to 100 miles per hour. So it's really fast. It's got a lot of horsepower. And I didn't go all the way 100 just because I've got cars in front of me, and I don't know where the police are. So as you can see, I let go of the brake, and this is regenerating right now. So this is slowing itself down pretty fast. And the speed limit here is 40, so we're going to just carefully drive here because it is wet out, and you don't want to put anybody in harm's way here. But just to give you guys a feel of the performance of the car, really, as you heard, I floored it. So even if I floored it now, I mean, the car picks right up. Like I said, it's about equivalent of 400 horsepower, a little bit over 400 horsepower. Has a lot of power, goes really fast. I mean, compared to a BMW M5, an M6, cars that I've driven before, even my 535 Xi, which is the turbo BMW, it's got a lot of beef. It's got a lot of power. It's rear-wheel drive, so you really feel it when it hits it, when it drives, so you really feel that pickup. So really well driven as far as the car handles well. Actually, I haven't felt the car slip a little bit just until a few minutes ago. The traction control kicked on. So the car will probably do 360s because it's rear-wheel drive. It's got a lot of torque, as I mentioned, so it'll do well. I'm here. I'm going around a curve pretty well. No issues. I mean, I'm pushing the car right now around this corner, so really well. I'm going to slow down because there's normally a police officer over here, so I'm actually just going to loop back around, head back home. But that is the feel and drive of the car. I want to make sure you guys get a clear view of what it feels like to drive the car in my personal view here, my point of view. So it's kind of a love. So if you're a driver, if you like a performance car, they make 3 different models of this car. You want to go with the 85, the P85. The P is a performance model. Then they have the P85 Plus, which is just with an integrated extra package, which is the carbon fiber and all that. So this car is fully loaded. Base price on this car is about $115,000. I'm sorry, $150,000 is the sticker price for this car. The base, I think, for this car is around $80,000, but it's kind of hard to not get everything, especially when you get a car like this. You want to get everything so you get all the features and things like that. If you want the performance, I think the base, I think it's 65 model. That one's about 60 grand, as you guys probably see on the website. But once you load it up, that 65 model, it goes up to almost close to 100 grand. The P85 fully loaded, I believe, is 120, about 120 grand. So they get pretty pricey. The ballpark price for this a month is about $1,400. And Tesla does finance, and they work through a bank right now. They've got some pretty good programs. If you're a business owner, they've also got a lease program for business owners only right now. So they've got some cool stuff going on there. So I would suggest, looking into that if you want to finance it. Also look outside of Tesla. But I buy this car brand new. So I actually put a down payment on my car to get myself in line for my delivery in 3 months. I've decided to buy a used Tesla. I just recently talked to a gentleman that was selling his Tesla. It's last year's model, so it looks exactly the same features, nothing different. Has everything inside. Like I mentioned, this is all software, so you get all these features in that car. As long as he had it fully loaded, you get all the same things. I'm sure Tesla's going to release some other cool things, and they're also releasing a Tesla truck. It's kind of like a mini SUV. I would think like a RAV4 from what I saw in the picture. It's got gull-wing doors, which is pretty interesting on the website. But pretty nice car. I mean, financially, it's quite a payment if you're in the medium class. If you're used to driving like a 5 Series BMW, definitely a big jump up in price pay. So that's why I decided to actually go down and get a used model. I've got a gentleman who you probably find used roughly for fully loaded for about 85 to 90 grand. Of course, everything buying new, as soon as you drive the lot, you're going to lose some investment there. But Tesla does have a nice financing where they buy the car half back and half the value back after I believe it's 3 or 4 years, and which is really nice. So it's not like you have to worry about the mileage. They just buy the car no matter what. So pretty cool. Really good program as well. So you get, say you spend $114,000, you get roughly $57,000 back when you give your car back, and that's a cash value and not a trading value. So that's a nice feature. So that is the Tesla, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the test drive today. Step out of the car. I know it's raining outside, but I'll give you guys a feature. Look outside, and the sun on the cloudy day, but at least a clearer picture of what it looks like. That way you guys can get a feel of what it's like to be in the Tesla, and then outside of the Tesla while it's on, you can actually hear what it sounds like. There's no exhaust on this car. There is an AC outlet for, of course, the water and the condensation. So you'll see the water condensate on the car and drip just like a regular car who's running an air conditioner. But that is the Tesla, guys. And thanks for joining me in my review. My name is Andrew Angel, and this is Technolust, and we're reviewing the 2014 Tesla. So to park, you just push the button in, and it literally just locks the back wheels. That where you heard there was the rear caliper is just grabbing, because there really is no gearbox in this, and there's only one gear. Just the other thing I didn't mention, this only has one gear, so really well done. So you don't shift gears in this car like you would in a normal automatic. So let's walk outside this car. So I just wanted to switch over to my other microphone here. I was walking outside the car. As you can see, it's got great lines. It's really well known. You probably recognize it on the road. It's hard to see them here actually on the in the video here, where I'm trying to capture the LED eyebrows these have. Really sharp car, but if you're looking at it, really space age looking kind of car, really sharp. Kind of looks like the Panorama. It's kind of a hatchbacky kind of look. It's got that little wing in the back that kind of looks panoramic, like the Panorama from Porsche. But as you can see, the front's really sharp. You know, you can recognize the T there from the Tesla. The logo is really well branded. The fog lights are really well integrated. There's like a little LED light there at the bottom next to the fog lights as well. So a couple cool features. So I appreciate you guys joining us here. My name is Andrew Angel for Technolust. For more info, check out teslamotors.com. And we're going to do a quick passenger side seat review moving next. I'm actually in the driver's seat now. I'm sorry, in the passenger seat now. So here you can actually see the legroom here. I'm a pretty tall guy. So again, the middle console here. Got my test driver here. He's actually just driving around, but get a feel for it. You know, so we're actually just driving back now. But here it is. One last time, we're looking to take a quick peek inside. Pretty quiet car. You know, it's yeah, you get a little more road noise than you would think. Yeah, I'm sure that part of that, you know, we've got a glass roof. You know, I don't think everything's insulated thoroughly, and you got a lot of these self-tightening windows. So I think that's partly why the insulation. You hear a lot of wind and things like that. So, but I mean, it's getting there. I think eventually Tesla will probably fix that a little bit, and they'll insulate a bit better, and they'll have better versions. But for the car, for my review, guys, I can't complain. I enjoyed the car very much, and hopefully we'll get one here soon. Outside the Tesla, and we're at a charging station. So the way this works is that you get this is a Tesla charger. You get your charger, there's a button on here. You hit the button, that releases the door here, or it should. There you go. And you just plug her in. Once she's plugged in, you'll see it blink green. And once it's solid green, that means fully charged. In the dash, you'll see it's charging now. So you can see it right from the outside when you're charging. And they're showing it's charging. And then if you walk away, the door will lock. Or you can lock the door, and that means nobody can tamper with this. Nobody can pull this out on you. They can't press the button and try to use it without you being charged first. So in case there's somebody else in an electric car and they want to steal your juice, they can't. So that's pretty much how you charge the car, and that is it. So I want to share everybody my last final feedback on this car. And, you know, the car was great. Here's a real world scenario where we were at Target, had to go buy some things with the girlfriend. Here's Jessica, she's my girlfriend. And, you know, we're active people, so we don't mind crossing the street from Chili's where the charging station was. But really, you have to plan your day out and figure out where your stations are. Even after a full charge, we drive a lot. So, you know, I was really concerned about 80 miles per hour because you never know where the next station is. You don't know what we're going to be doing, especially if you're crunching time like we're always busy on our schedule. So you have to plan your day. The car was great, but until the technology is developed to charge these cars more readily available, I think it's kind of a pain. It's a fear for me because we're so gas-minded, but and gas stations are everywhere. But performance-wise, the look-wise, the inside of the car, I give the car an 8 out of 10. As I mentioned, there were some flaws inside that I think could be fixed, but beyond that, the car drove and performed well. And this is our review. My name is Andrew Angel. Thanks for joining us for Technolust. Tell your friends about us and share your comments on YouTube.